What's up? My name is Katie, and today we're going to be talking about how to make money flipping furniture, what you would need to get started, some real life examples of what I have flipped furniture for, and just the potential that you can make in the side hustle of flipping furniture. So let's get into it. First off, before we get started, I want to define the term of flipping furniture because I think it often gets lumped into the same category as restoring furniture, and I personally think they're very different. I categorize flipping furniture as finding a valuable piece of furniture for cheap, doing little to no work with it, and making a profit off of it. Restoring furniture, on the other hand, is when you find a very neglected vintage piece of furniture. You put a lot of effort into trying to get it back to its glory days. This method takes a lot more skill and trade. If you are interested in learning how to restore furniture, I do have a video going through how to restore furniture step by step, but this video is strictly going to be focusing on how to flip furniture. You need very little knowledge on how to restore furniture. You don't need expensive tools, and you can get started today. I started flipping furniture around 8 years ago, right after I graduated college. I fully anticipated to start my career, but God had different plans, and I ended up taking an unpaid internship. And because it was unpaid, I needed to compensate with some sort of side gig to make some extra cash. My husband and I were very much in our small beginnings and still needed me to make money. So as we were praying, furniture just popped into my head as a side gig option. I didn't really know much about it. I didn't know where to start with furniture flipping, so I just started with painting. That seemed to be the most popular thing at the time, and it seemed like fun. So I started painting and then quickly realized that was not my thing. It's not my preferred way of doing things, and I wanted to learn how to restore furniture. But in the meantime, because I didn't really know what I was doing, I tried to find pieces of furniture that needed little to no work so I can make that extra cash each month. This is when I started to realize how much money you can actually make flipping furniture. Now let's talk numbers. It's easier for me to tell you how much I made off each flip than it is for me to tell you how much I made monthly, because as I was mentioning, I started to learn how to restore furniture, and my time of just strictly flipping furniture was short-lived, and they kind of intertwined. So monthly I was making flipping furniture and restoring furniture. So to keep things simplified, I'm going to start with individual examples. My first example is my first ever mid-century score. My husband and I were on a garage sale trail, and I came across this garage sale where this guy was selling a bunch of awesome stuff, and I saw an Ames chair, but it wasn't actually an Ames chair. It was a Plycraft Ames style chair. In the corner, it had a stool as well attached to it. It definitely looked beat up. There was some bird poop on it, but it was listed for $10. So I was like, yep, taking this, purchased this, brought it home, cleaned off the bird poop. I ended up needing to reupholster the stool for $30 at my local upholstery shop down the street. In addition to the reupholstery of the stool, I also purchased a $30 color leather treatment. There was some sun bleached areas on some of the leather, but it was still in really good shape. So I went ahead and applied that to make it match the rest of the stool, and it looked really good. So my total investment in the piece was $70, very little time. I listed it for $600, it sold for $600, making my profit $530. If you're wondering what to list things for, what I like to do is use Google Lens. I will take a picture of the piece of furniture I am about to buy or interested in buying. I see how much it's listed for being sold online, and I kind of use that as a gauge of how much I will list it for. The highest vintage shops online, you're probably never going to get that amount of money for at a local level, but it does give you a good gauge on what to even list something for. So that's what I did with the Plycraft chair. The next couple examples I'm going to be mentioning needed absolutely no work. I found this diamond mid-century set at a Salvation Army for $150. I got it that day, listed it for $1,000. It sold for $900 that very same day, making my total profit $750 in one day. This was an interesting example. I got a free couch from a friend. It was a mid-century couch. She knows that I was selling things to make money for this church internship, and she gave me this couch for free. I didn't actually know what this was worth, so I listed it online for $150 or best offer, and ended up being a bidding war against these two gentlemen, and someone came to pick it up the next day for $700. Clearly it was worth a lot, but I didn't see any markings, so to this day I don't know how much it's worth. Next is this mid-century modern chair we found on the same garage sale trail a year later by Adrian Pearsall, and I bought it for $30. I wasn't exactly sure how much it was worth, but I knew it looked really cool and it would sell, so I listed it for $550, and it sold in the next couple days, making my profit $520. Now, some of these that I'm mentioning are from 5 or 6 years ago, and I do think things have changed in the mid-century realm, that things are a lot more expensive. So I wanted to give some modern day examples of the things I've sold in the past year. One of them is this Jasper teak coffee table. I found it at a local estate sale for $125, and then I sold it that very same day for $450, making my profit $325. All I had to do was just rub on some teak oil that I had in my cupboard just to freshen it up a bit. And other than that, absolutely no work. My husband and I also found this gorgeous Thomasville tiki set. I have never seen one in person, and it was just so solid and beautiful. We paid $600 for this set, brought it back to our house, sold it a couple days later for $950, making my total profit $350. Now, as you can see, I have to pay a little bit more to make a profit these days. It doesn't always have to be $600, but that one I knew that if I just took it home, it would sell and I would make a profit. I was hoping to make a little bit more profit than $350, but still, for doing absolutely nothing to it, $350 is $350. And my absolute favorite flip I've ever done is we found this dining room set at a closing vintage shop. We were looking for a dining room set. We brought it to our house. It was mid-century. It kind of fit our vibe. We planned on keeping it, and we did for a couple years, until I realized that it was very rare and worth a lot of money. And you know, money, I could use it. So I listed it for $1,500. I originally got it for $150, and it sold within a couple days. We started having babies later anyways, and they would have destroyed it, so it's better in someone else's hands. All right, now that you've heard some real life examples on flips that I have done, and maybe you're thinking you would be interested in starting this, here's what I think you would need to get started. Number one, get a general baseline on what is valuable furniture. Just because you think something looks cool does not mean it has high resale value. You will learn as you get into it, and you won't be perfect at understanding value, but it is nice to have a general background so that way you're not wasting your time. For instance, as you can see from my examples, I stuck to the mid-century area because that's what I saw to be selling the fastest. Mid-century modern furniture has maintained its high resale value ever since it started in the mid-40s all the way to the mid-70s. It's going to be the highest resale vintage furniture there is right now because it is made with some of the most beautiful woods like walnut, rosewood, and teak, as well as it's just built really beautifully and modern that has stood the test of time. And although that is my preferred era that I stick to, there are other eras that have high resale value as well, such as the Art Deco era or the well-preserved 1800 furniture. Anything that has solid wood has high resale value because anything you find today is pretty much made with particle board or extremely expensive. So if you can get your hands on solid wood, that people will spend a lot more money on solid wood than some of the furniture they're going to find at Target. You can even go outside of vintage, and if you can get your hands on high-end furniture for very cheap somehow, like West Elm or Restoration Hardware, anything that is sold for a lot of money at stores and you found it for very cheap, again, that's going to give you profit. The next thing I think you would need to get started is a vehicle, and not just any vehicle, a vehicle that can hold furniture. You can rent a U-Haul, you can borrow a friend's truck or your father's truck or anyone's truck. But really, if you want to do this as a consistent side hustle, you're going to need your own vehicle that can fit furniture. We used our 2012 Equinox for the longest time, and it fit quite a bit of furniture. Since then, we've had 3 boys and moved on to a minivan, and that fits even more furniture. We can even fit sets, actually, with all the car seats pushed forward. It fits quite a bit of furniture. Aside from the vehicle, I think something that you will need that is not really talked about a lot, a flexible schedule. If you have a very strict, non-flexible schedule, furniture flipping is probably not going to be the side hustle for you. And here's why. The majority of the furniture I find are found in 2 places, Facebook Marketplace and estate sales. Facebook Marketplace, for example, the best finds I ever found on Facebook Marketplace, it was because I was the first one to message them, or at least one of the first ones to message them, and I was ready at a drop of a hat to go pick it up. So if your schedule cannot be paused for this kind of thing, then you're probably going to miss out on a lot of awesome finds. In regards to an estate sale, most estate sales in my area start on like Thursday at like 10 a.m. So if you found a piece prior through pictures online that you wanted, and you're not the first one there at Thursday at 10 o'clock or earlier, if there's a huge line, you're going to miss out on that piece and someone else is going to snag it before you. I'm not saying you can't flip furniture at all if you don't have a flexible schedule, but I am saying it's going to make it a lot harder for you. Another thing that is important to note is it is so much easier to flip furniture if you have a partner. Flipping furniture would have been so hard without my husband because I needed someone to help lift the furniture into the car. I'm sure there are people who flip furniture without a partner, but in my experience on Facebook Marketplace and at estate sales, most people don't offer to help load the furniture into the car. I'm sure there are some nice people out there, but you can't just rely on sweet old elderly lady to help you put this in your car, or an entire estate sale team that doesn't want to get caught in liability. They're probably not going to help you load into the car, though I have seen some nice people do that. It's just not something you want to bank on. So having a partner, someone to help lift things with you, is very, very crucial. The next thing that I think is crucial to making this a realistic side gig is to have a cash reserve for furniture that you will be purchasing in the meantime of making your profit. Facebook Marketplace, garage sales, estate sales, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be cash. Estate sales is pretty much the only one that may take card, but even then, I ran into a lot of estate sales that only take cash. And you don't want to be putting yourself in debt just to make this work. You need a small cash reserve. I assume this next one would be a given, but just in case, where are you going to store this furniture? In your house? You could, but depends on how much furniture you're getting and how often you want furniture sitting in your house. Sometimes pieces don't sell for weeks. I prefer way shorter, but it does happen sometimes, especially if you know you have a piece that is worth hanging on to. You also want to store it in a place that isn't going to get rained on or be damaged. You want to keep it safe because realistically, that piece is your future money. So just something to consider when actually picking up a piece of furniture and making this a consistent routine. Once you have pieces of furniture, you're going to move on to listing it. I have only used Facebook Marketplace because that's just how much success I found with it. There was really no other reason to use another outlet. So that's what I highly recommend using. Once you've taken pictures of your piece of furniture that is well lit, clear, it doesn't have to be super professional, but well lit and clear is definitely crucial. And you add that to your listing, and then you're going to go ahead and choose a price, whatever price you think is worth it based on the research that you put into it. Make sure you add the dimensions. People will ask, and you're probably going to be annoyed at how many people are asking what the dimensions are. So just add it to the description and then list it. And if you've done your job well, you found a valuable piece of furniture for cheap, you're selling it at a good price, very soon you will have a buyer ready to come pick up this piece of furniture. Now this leads me to my last and final very important point. Where are they going to pick up this piece of furniture? I've always done front door pickup. I've never had an issue with it. I've never felt unsafe with it. I bring it to the front of my house. They pay me either cash or Venmo, and then it's done. I never hear from them again unless they buy another piece from me. But not everyone is going to be comfortable with that. So that's something to consider. If you're not comfortable with that, maybe you invest in a storage unit, depending on how many pieces of furniture you buy in a month, if it's worth it to buy a storage unit. And I've picked up furniture from people at a storage unit. or you do a local pickup, or you deliver for a fee. Just consider what you're most comfortable with. So there you have it. Those are my 7 or 8 things that I think you would need to get started furniture flipping as a legitimate side hustle. What you make per month is entirely up to you and how much effort you want to put into it. But as you can see, there is a lot of money to be made in this area. And if you find yourself to be a good fit, furniture flipping can be a really great, successful side hustle. Side hustles seem to be very attractive to people lately, I think because of the appeal of the flexibility or the safety net of it. If God forbid you lost your job and you needed to make up some income in a shorter period of time, or if you just wanted to quit your job altogether and just had side gigs as your streams of income. That is all very possible today, which is very cool. If you found this video helpful, click like and subscribe. I'll be making more videos like this, as well as my own restorations you can check out for some inspo, and I will see you next time.